Night, Donald puffed into the sheds. "Today was a horrible day," puffed Donald. "What luck," said Douglas. James laughed. "Bad luck of the Irish," he said. "Irish?" Percy questioned. "Yeah," continued James. "Donald and Douglas are Irish, and Donald has bad luck, so bad luck of the Irish." All the other engines were confused. "James, we're Scottish, not Irish," said Douglas. But James didn't listen. He still kept chanting, "Luck of the Irish! Luck of the Irish!" That night all the engines went to sleep with the rhythm of James's chant. The next morning Donald was shunting himself a goods train to take to the other side of the railway. James came into the yard to fetch him some coaches. "Good morning, Donald, the Irish engine," puffed James. Donald was annoyed. "I told you, James, me and Dougie are Scottish," said Donald. But James didn't listen, and he laughed. The troublesome trucks laughed too. "Luck of the Irish! Luck of the Irish!" James laughed. Donald gathered his trucks and set off. "Dumb luck of the Irish! Dumb luck of the Irish!" Donald puffed as he sped along the main line. "Cheer up," said Donald's fireman, but Donald ignored him. They soon arrived at a station. The workmen began loading the trucks with goods. The driver and fireman went to help and speed things up. Once all the trucks were loaded, Donald continued down the track. Donald didn't seem to realize that his crew forgot to fill him up with water at the water tower. If Donald didn't get any more water soon, he would be stuck. Donald kept going till he was on the viaduct. Then he could go no further. His fireman looked at his water tanks. Then, enraged, the driver and fireman argued, saying they thought that the other had filled up the tanks. After a few minutes of bickering, they phoned the signalman and asked for help, but it was no good. James was coming behind on their line with his passenger train, so James would have to push them to the next water tower, and it was at Knapford Station. Donald's crew came back and told him the news. "Oh no!" cried Donald. "Now I'll be Donald the bad luck Irish engine forever." His crew was confused. You're Scottish," said the fireman. Donald moaned. "Try telling James that," he replied. Donald and his crew went back to flag James down. Once James heard of Donald's incident, he laughed and sang his chant. Soon James pulled up to Donald's brake van and began to push. "Luck of the Irish," he joked. Donald tried to ignore him as they chuffed down the line, but James kept singing at anything and everything they passed. "Donald," called his driver, "I have a plan. When we get to Knapford, we're going to use the last bit of steam you have to get back at James." Donald agreed. The cavalcade could soon see Knapford Station's large roof. "Now!" yelled Donald's driver. Donald began puffing with every ounce of steam he had left. Children on the platform could see them pull in. They saw James coupled to Donald, and Donald pulling them in. When James arrived at the platform, the children laughed. "Look!" cried a boy. "James got stuck, so Donald must have had to take him and his train, plus James. Man, what a strong engine!" The other children agreed. Donald blushed. "James, this isn't the luck of the Irish I'm getting. This is the luck of the Scottish," he said. The children began to laugh at James again. James was in shame, and he had gotten himself in some bad luck for all of his teasing. Next time on Thomas and Friends, when Gordon is again being a speed demon just to prove Henry wrong, will Sir Topham Hatt put a stop to it? Find out next time in Don't Be Quick.